it takes two to raise a child. It does. You need a mother who can nurture and teach and love on the child. And you need a father who can discipline and hold that child accountable and teach, especially a boy, to be a man. What's up, guys? Welcome to Let It Be Heard, where we are doers of the word, not hearers only. I'm your host, Jaden.heard, and today we're going to be discussing the fatherless epidemic in this country. It's really important, so be sure to watch this whole video through its entirety and enjoy. We need to talk about this, and it's not talked about much. In the conservative movement, it is talked about a little bit, but this is going to be a little bit different video where we're not reacting to a video. We're going to stick to a topic, and today we're going to be talking about the fatherless epidemic in our country. This has been a very big issue, in my opinion, especially for the Black community, as the fatherless home rate has essentially risen from 20% to 70% from 1960s to the 2020 era, right? So it's polluted the Black community so much so that it's affected crime, education, the economy, but I'm not just talking about Black people. I'm talking about for all people. And I have some statistics thanks to Michael Seifert from Public Square. Shout out to him for sending me these statistics and all the sources. Be sure to check out Public Square. They're a really good company. They're a good alternative for, like, you know, if you want to stop shopping at these woke companies, and they give you alternatives, and it's really good. So shout out to Public Square. But guys, I mean, this is something that we're not talking about. So the downfall of our country and our culture, there's a lot of reasons, right? We've banned Bibles in public schools. We've tolerated a lot of LGBT stuff. You can argue that's been a downfall. We have all these cultures coming in from different countries. Our border is essentially open, so you have all these people coming in and not assimilating with the American culture. But and so you can make all these cases and stuff, but I want to talk about something very specific, and these are our children and why essentially Gen Z is becoming more depressed and all this stuff. Well, I'll tell you why in a second. So let me just start off with this with some statistics, okay? Stats don't lie. It's the truth, okay? And these stats are shocking, y'all. It is bad. Literally every single problem in our nation points to fatherlessness in the home. So here's some shocking numbers. 20 million Americans in this country are infected with the disease of fatherlessness. From fatherlessness, you get poverty. There's a lack of educational environment. Crime increases. The health plummets, whether that's physical or mental. The teen pregnancy, the sexual activity in the homes, the abuse, substance abuse. It's terrible. But I have some real statistics here. So look at this. Fatherless families are 44% more likely to raise children living in poverty. 90%, guys. This is bad. I mean, like, if you want to talk about the problem in our country right now, and as far as homelessness, look at this. 90% of all homelessness and runaway children are fatherless. Let's talk about drugs. Kids from fatherless homes are 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances. 71% of adolescent substance abusers come from a fatherless home. 71%. Mental health. 80% of adolescents in psychiatric hospitals come from fatherless homes. 80%. You are 2 times more likely to commit suicide if you grow up in a fatherless home. And we'll have all these sources in the description. Fatherless children experience more accidents and a higher rate of chronic asthma, headaches, and speech defects. Let's talk about education. These children who grew up without a father, yeah, you're more likely to fail in reading and math. You're 9 times more likely to drop out of school. You're less likely to obtain any kind of academic or professional qualification in adulthood. And 71% of high school dropouts come from a fatherless home. Crime. 70% of adolescents in juvenile correctional facilities come from a fatherless home. 60% of rapists were raised in fatherless homes. 60%. That means these men and women were raised without an example to follow, and they took their anger out on other people. 20 times more likely, this is just what it says, you're 20 times more likely to be incarcerated. You're 9 times more likely to be raped or sexually abused. And they make up 85% of all youths in prison. 70% of teen pregnancies happen in fatherless homes. 85% of children with behavior disorders grow up without a father. And this is really this is really sad. 40% of children in father absent homes have not even seen their father at all, not once, for at least a year. That means that their father is either dead, in prison, or the father is just such a deadbeat that he just doesn't care. So we have these statistics, and you can ask, well, Jaden, what does that mean? What are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is the downfall of not only the black culture, but the downfall of our country, the next generation, is on the fatherlessness epidemic. That's what I would say. I think it's, if not the main problem in our country, it's one of the main problems. 100%. It's not even close. You have kids that are growing up in these homes, and you saw the statistics for yourself. You heard them. And you have them grow up in these homes, and guys, they have no guidance. And there's a maxim I like to say, hurt people hurt people. And that sometimes that people can be themselves. You know, it's really sad because people, whatever you take in is what you're going to get out or give out. And the guys, the numbers don't lie. Crime, education, drug, mental health, physical health. I could go on. Sex, abuse, all of it. And this isn't like an attack on mothers. I'm not saying mothers are not doing a good job, but it takes two. It takes two to raise a child. It does. You need a mother who can nurture, and teach, and love on the child, and you need a father who can discipline and hold that child accountable and teach, especially a boy, to be a man. I've met amazing men who only grew up with a motherly figure, no father figure, grew up wonderful because the mother was strong, and it basically that child was raised by a village, right? So they still had a structure, and they were taught good values, and they grew up and they lived that out. But that's the exception, not the rule. That is the exception. So the sad part about this is that that's not normal, you know? That's like a miracle. Most of the time, these kids they're doomed. They're doomed. And it's something that we need to address, especially for pro-life. And we have a lot of these single mothers out here having abortions, and their excuse is, well, my child isn't going to wound up too well in society. Well, that's probably true. You know, it's really true, but it doesn't justify the act of killing the child. But it's at least worth us considering and solving and addressing. You know, we talked about a few weeks ago on a podcast we did on RSBN, where we talked about how there's a lot of issues as far as with illegal immigrants. You know, there are things that we're not talking about as a church. And one of the things we're not talking about is the homelessness crisis and the veterans, how we're not helping the veterans, right? And that's a big issue that we just, for some reason, none of us really talk about. I mean, you see some organizations for it, you see some nonprofits for it, but it's not really the biggest issue. And I will say the same thing's happening for this same issue. Fatherlessness is an epidemic, and it's something that we need to address, especially as a church. Okay, the church, we have a heavenly father, but obviously Jesus wants us to obey our earthly fathers just as we obey our Father above. And a lot of people have fatherless issues, right? They have daddy issues, and that really does affect their spirituality and their spiritual relationship with their heavenly Father. It does. And if the church, if we want to have people grow up in the faith and become born again and serve a Father in heaven, then we have to show them love on earth and show them like, hey, this is not how it's supposed to be, right? And we need to address this issue because a lot of kids go through it, especially in the black community. Over 70% of black kids grow up without a father. That is insane. And no wonder 96% of blacks are voting for Democrat. No wonder the crime is insane. No wonder we're aborting our kids more than any other race. It's because there's no father present. There's no man. I'm not saying that women are the problem. I'm saying the problem is the culture. Our country doesn't allow us to have basically a single parent working and the child's taken care of. Now our country kind of requires two people working, double income, in order to have a sustainable family. When that American dream kind of family picture has completely failed because our culture has gone in the dump. We've completely thrown out all morality and God. And so now you have this epidemic of fatherlessness. You have this epidemic of LGBT. You have this epidemic of immorality, all jumbled into this one country we call America. And I love this country. I love this country more than anything, or just about anything. And I want to see it get better. But before we even begin to even grow as a country, we need to address this epidemic and many others. But for some reason, the church is not addressing it. But I've heard a lot of conservative commentators speak on this, but I haven't heard them put it like this as far as with statistics and really showing the gravity of it all. So really this episode was really just to inform you guys and to wake you up. This is something that's happening in our country. And I want to end off with this, that if you are a person who has experienced this firsthand, I want you to know that you do have people on this earth who care about you. You have a Father in heaven who made you in his image, who sent his son to die for you to display his love, right? The nails in his wrist show how much he loves you. And so I just wanted to end off with that. I really have nothing else to say, but take these statistics, really look into this stuff, and do something about it. We need to step up because this is a real problem. And I would say it is the foundation of a bunch of other problems that we have in this country, especially in the black community. So yeah, God bless you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to my little short rant. Have a good rest of your week, and God bless. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And be sure to hit that follow button and that join button. It'll take you over to our locals channel where you can further support the show and get access to additional content. God bless.